So, hi, I'm Ashley Stringer, and in 2017, I began having shortness of breath. And so I went to see a pulmonologist, and there were several tests done. Ultimately, I was diagnosed with lung cancer at age 34, which was a complete shock. Um, it was determined that it was best to have surgery to remove the cancer. And so I had surgery in 2017 to remove half of my left lung. And then in 2019, the cancer returned again in my left lung. And so I had radiation done to treat the cancer at that point. And so I continue to have CT scans every 3 months, just following up on some nodules that are in both lungs that look suspicious for cancer. So we just watch those every 3 months to see if they're growing or changing at all. The journey overall has been certainly a lot of ups and downs, and I'm just happy to be a 3-year cancer survivor at this stage. When I got the news, I was just completely shocked because being a young person who had never smoked, I didn't even think that lung cancer was a possibility for me. And so it was very shocking. It was scary. At the time, my children were 3 years old and 7 years old, so very young. And I was just really scared, wondering, would I be here to raise my children? Would I be here to see them graduate high school and go to college, get married, all of those things that most people don't think about being a young mother. And so just a lot of questions swirling in my mind about my future, and a lot of the times thinking, how long do I have to live? And just constantly worrying about that. So it's affected me in a lot of different ways, but it was very, very shocking and scary getting the news that you have cancer. As far as long-term feelings and struggles that I've dealt with, there's been a lot. I would say emotionally and mentally, the biggest struggle is just trying to cope with the not knowing the future. Is the cancer going to come back? And if it does, again, how long do I have? And then also, since I get scans every 3 months, I'm worried a lot about what's the next scan going to show, because I actually have to travel down to Houston, which is 8 hours away from where I'm at. And I also work full time and I have 2 young kids. And so I have a lot going on, right? So it's hard emotionally. I have nightmares a lot of the times. I'll just wake up from a dead sleep, and the things that are in my mind, they're just scary about the future being so uncertain. And the reality that I might die very young, that's a real possibility, and it's scary. But physically, I do have some nerve damage from the surgery, and that bothers me. Not anything tremendously, but it's there. It's just kind of more of an annoyance. I also have shortness of breath when I'm exercising because I do have reduced lung capacity. So that's something that I have to deal with for the rest of my life. And on a positive note, I've changed my diet quite a bit. I always had a healthy diet, but I have a lot of food restrictions, just trying to, prevent the cancer from reoccurring and eating very healthy. And that's a challenge with young children too, trying to limit what's coming into the house. But my diet's changed. But there's been a lot of positives too that have came out of my journey, as far as just growing as an individual, in my faith, in my personal relationships with friends and family, coworkers, just seeing the good in people that have been there for me for the whole journey, just supporting me in any way that I've needed help. It's been really encouraging to have people constantly praying for me and just helping in any way they can. So that's been a huge blessing. And then just cherishing the time I have. I think until you've been put in a position that I'm in, we sometimes tend to take our lives and time that we have for granted. And so that's something that once I had the diagnosis, I really was trying to make sure that I make the most of my time, whatever time I have left, you know, and being intentional with the time I do have and spending time with my kids and my husband and really making the little moments count.